Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Daily Shift with Kassandra. I'm Kassandra Von Worsley. Welcome to The Daily Shift. This happens on my Facebook business page at facebook.com/Kassandra Von MBA every Monday and Thursday, usually at 4:30 p.m. Mountain, but this week is a different kind of week. So I'm actually doing The Daily Shift outdoors and I'm doing it in the morning. Next week we will return to the afternoon. Okay, so I have been dealing with my excuses a lot lately. I always think about my excuses, but I've been dealing with them a lot. And I'm thinking that if I'm dealing with my excuses about why I'm not handling certain things in certain arenas of my life, why I'm not doing certain things that I know need to be done, I'm sure you're also dealing with your excuses too. So what I want to talk about on today's Daily Shift is how to get beyond your excuses. Now, I'm going to start by telling you one of the areas right now in my life that is pissing me off because I've got so many excuses for them. I know exactly what to do to handle them, and yet I am not doing the work. I don't know if you can relate, but my biggest excuse arena right now is my health and fitness. I am somebody who used to be a personal trainer. I used to be a spin instructor. I remember I had one child before baby number 2, and I was in such phenomenal shape that when I would teach a class, younger girls would come up to me and they'd go, "I can't believe you had a baby." That me still lives in this body, but this body does not reflect that me. And so for the last, I would say at least a year, I'd say probably 2 years at this point, I have been making up every excuse about why I am not doing what I know exactly how to do to drop the considerable amount of weight that I need to drop to get into an even better fitness level than I was when I was 23, 24. And so my biggest excuse arena has been, why am I not doing what I know I need to do? Why am I not eating the way I know I need to eat? Why am I not working out consistently? Why am I not doing the things I need to do? And here's the problem with running that train of thought. Us criticizing ourselves internally, us doing the whole, you know what you need to do, so why are you not doing it? You know what you need to do, so running that really critical thought pattern doesn't move the dial. Clearly, I've been running it for about 2 years. It is not moving the dial. And so I want to talk on today's Daily Shift about how do you get beyond your excuses? Because here's the reality of the situation. And most of us know this, so this is not anything new that you're going to hear. Your best life is on the other side of your excuses. Your best life, your greatest life, your most powerful life is on the other side of your excuses. My best life is on the other side of my excuses. And so long as I'm living in my fitness arena on this side with my excuses, I can't ever get to the other side because my best life, your best life, is living on the other side of your excuses. Now, how do we, because we're all in this together, how do we get beyond our excuses? So, number one, and this is a really key component, we tell ourselves stories about why we aren't where we want to be, or why we aren't where we thought we'd be by now, or at this age, or at this stage of life. And so often our stories are interwoven with blaming other people, right? Like, I'm not where I want to be financially because if I didn't go through that divorce and I didn't go through that bankruptcy, then none of this would be like, we got to stop that. So the first thing we've got to do to get beyond our excuses is stop blaming other people. Stop blaming other people. You might say, well, I have no time to build a business because I work a full-time job and, I work 80 hours a week. Stop blaming your job. It has nothing to do with that. There are people who work 80 hours a week who start a full-time business and they leave their full-time job in a year. So number one thing, if we want to get beyond our excuses, is we have to stop blaming other people or circumstances for why we are where we are and take full ownership of where we are, because there is no power in blaming somebody else. If somebody else is the reason why you're not living your best life, guess what? Then you living your best life is contingent upon their permission. How would that be? That would suck. So number one, stop blaming other people. Number two, how to get beyond your excuses. Decide who you are now choosing to be. Decide who you're now choosing to be. So I'll give you an example. With my fitness journey, I have tried to do the 0-100 thing. I've tried to flip from like eating Twinkies and Snickers and not watching my macros to going completely to fitness competition prep and being anal about macros. That 0-100 switch has not been working. So one of the things with deciding who I'm now choosing to be, one of the things that I've decided to do is I've decided that I'm a person who, no matter what I eat that day, Twinkies, egg whites, I'm a person who tracks what I eat in MyFitnessPal. That is my first step to getting back to that ultra fit state. I am now saying to myself, I am somebody who doesn't miss a day of tracking my calories, period. Doesn't matter what I ate. If it's ribs, I'm gonna put it in MyFitnessPal. If it's a piece of chocolate cake, I'm gonna put it in MyFitnessPal. Why? Because in order for you to get out or get beyond your excuses, you have to pick a new identity. You have to decide a new way of being, and you want to start small. You don't want to go dramatic. You want to start small. So find 1 or 2 habit shifts that you can make where I track my habits in Habit Bowl, which is a great app, where you say, okay, I can't get all the way from here to there today. But the me that I want to be, what is one habit that me that I want to be does every single day? And then say to yourself, I'm deciding that that's who I am. I'm deciding that I'm somebody who tracks her calories. Now, that may not seem like a huge shift to people, like, well, if you want to lose weight, then I need to start out with the consistency that then builds the confidence that then transforms the rest of it. So number 2, if you want to get beyond your excuses, decide who you are now choosing to be. Start with 1 or 2 habits max. Number 3, this is how we get beyond our excuses. Assess the cost and commit to the payment. Most people, when they see their best life on one side and they see where they are right now and their excuses on the other side, they don't accept the fact that there is a payoff for you living in your excuses. There is a payoff for me living in my fitness excuses. I get to have Twinkies. Just saying. There's a payoff. The reality is, before you're going to be willing to give up whatever payoff you're having over here in your excuses, you have to accurately assess, what is it going to cost me to move from being this person to that person, and you've got to commit to the payment. Like, for myself, I know eventually I want to do bodybuilding and compete and become an IFBB bikini pro. I know eventually I'm going to have to give up the sugar. I know eventually I'm going to have to be anal retentive about my macros. I know eventually I'm going to have to work out like crazy for a period of time. I know that that's coming. And so it's really important that while you're not trying to do everything overnight, you're not trying to change all your habits overnight, one thing you are doing right now is you're assessing the cost and you're committing to the payment. You're saying, okay, what's my payoff for staying here? What's my payoff for staying stuck? What's my payoff for living in my excuses? Really enjoyable. I wouldn't have done it for this long if it wasn't somehow yummy. But what is going to be the cost for me going on the other side of my excuses? And am I willing to, not all at once, but am I willing to pay that price? Assess the cost and commit to the payment. Number 4, to get beyond your excuses, discipline your life. I can't talk enough about self-discipline. I wake up most mornings at 4 o'clock in the morning, if not earlier, and I wake up most mornings without an alarm clock. Discipline is the key to everything, and people give discipline a bad rap. People go, well, I want to be in the flow, and I want to do what I feel like I'm called to do. The way that you get to do what you're called to do is by being self-disciplined. The way that you do what is meant for you in your life to do is you do the things you say you're going to do, and you begin by keeping the commitments that you make to yourself. You cannot keep the commitments that you make to yourself if you don't have discipline. So number 4 is you've got to discipline your life. And yes, there are moments when discipline feels, and for me, especially with eating super clean, when I was doing fitness competition prep and there were 0 carb days, I dreaded them because all I would eat all day is chicken breast, broccoli, chicken breast, broccoli, chicken breast, broccoli, egg whites, broccoli. That's super disciplined, and it sucks. Discipline at moments is going to suck, but discipline long-term will create your freedom. It will create the life that you want. So number 4, discipline your life. 5th and final thing I'm going to talk about, how to get beyond your excuses. Do the work until. No expiration dates. So many people that I come across, especially those who want to start businesses, they go, well, I'm going to try this business thing out for like a year. And if it doesn't work in a year, then I'll go and get a job. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. So literally, if you're going to get to the other side of your excuses and you're going to stay there, you have to be willing to do this work until, and you're gonna backslide at times. You're gonna have La Vida Loca happen, and you're gonna lose your momentum and your steam. You're going to have seasons of life. Like right now, I'm in a season of my life where I am packing on way too many pounds, and they need to go. But I'm not gonna fight the season. There's a reason why I'm in this season, and there is a way to get out of the season, but I have to be willing to work until I get there. Even if that means it takes me a year to drop this weight, or 2 years, or 5 years. It might take me 5 years to drop this weight, but I have to be willing to work until I get there. So what am I saying at the end of the day? Your best life is on the other side of your excuses. It's on the other side of your excuses. And how do you get beyond your excuses? Number 1, stop blaming other people, situations, or circumstances. Number 2, decide who you are now choosing to be. Pick 1 or 2 habits, begin small. Number 3, assess the cost and commit to the payment. Listen, you don't get a mortgage and then go, well, I don't really want to pay that every single month. You won't have a house after about 3 to 6 months. So assess the cost and commit to the payment. Number 4, discipline your life. Start to see discipline as a challenge and not as a punishment. 0 carb, 0 fat days feel like punishment. But the next time I do them, I'm going to start to work on seeing this as a challenge. Can I go 24 hours eating like this? And then I'll get to the next day. And then finally, once you've disciplined your life, do the work until. There is no expiration date. There is no expiration date. So understand at the end of the day, here's what's true. You can have the life you have now. You can have the life that you really want. You can have something in between. But the only thing that is ever stopping you is you. That's it. You decide what you allow. You decide what continues. You decide what you accept. You decide what your standards are. So if things are not working for you, if you're unhappy with things, the best gift that you're ever going to get is the knowledge that you alone are the power to change that. You alone. That's powerful. It's a gift. Use it. All right, everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, please join me, The Daily Shift with Kassandra. You can find me on facebook.com/Kassandra Vaughn MBA. I will see you guys next week.